this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We got an awful lot to get into. We are officially on Bosa watch all week here. Nick Bosa, that is, at 888-957-9570. Got the latest from Rap Sheet. See what's going on there. We got the Zoom up, I see here in the studio. I got my mean mug on the computer. I need to mute all these because we know what happened last time. There was an echo. Derailed the entire show. We found the problem. Late, but we found it. So we'll go through and we'll correct that right now. But welcome in. Hope you all had a lovely, lovely Labor Day weekend. If you're just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for whatever you got to do at 5:01 a.m. I don't care what you're doing. Just glad you're here with us at 888-957-9570 and on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there. And also be sure to download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for all of your 49ers, Warriors, Giants coverage. Giants take another L yesterday. They are free falling like Tom Petty. It is not good. They got that one series win against Cincinnati, and you thought maybe things would change, and it's gone. Do my best South Park impression there, but it's not good. It's not fun to be a Giants fan right now. It's not fun to be a part of the Giants team. You just see it. You see Logan Webb. He's struggling. What else can he do? When you allow one run and that's it? It's over? I mean, poor guy. Put the team on his back all season long. He's been out there grinding. Should have been an all-star. Went to Cobb. But Giants, they're reeling. They'd have multiple teams ahead of them, albeit a game, but once you start getting multiple teams in front of you in the standings with only a few weeks to go, it's tough. And you can see it on Gabe Kapler. You can see it on the players. And don't know how much Giants we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks unless they do, in fact, make things interesting. They're not out of it yet, but they're flirting with that. They're flirting with danger, and they've been flirting with danger the last month and a half. 888-957-9570. The number to get off your chest. What's going on with Nick Bosa? 49er fans, what's going on here? The latest from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network yesterday in regards to the two sides, the Niners and Nick Bosa. You know, it's not about, being the highest paid defensive player. That's already done. You want more than that. Nick wants more than that. He thinks he deserves more than that. Is it just highest non-quarterback type of money? Let's take a listen to the latest from Rap Sheet.
There is no deal yet for Nick Bosa, and I would say similar to Chris Jones, maybe without quite the amount of urgency. Until there is a significant breakthrough, I do not expect Nick Bosa on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. And it really isn't a question of, is it going to be the NFL's highest paid pass rusher? It sounds to me like they're already there, already past T.J. Watt. That's not really what this is about. T.J. Watt, of course, is $28 million on an average per year basis. This is about how close to Aaron Donald's $31 million and change does he get, or does he get over that? It is a Monday today, tomorrow's Tuesday, and then Wednesday starts the game week. I believe I'd have to consult the calendar on that one, but that's what I think it is. And if he is not there Wednesday, obviously would not bode well for him being able to participate in this week's game. If there is anyone whose resolve you should never doubt, it is someone with the last name of Bosa. We will see if the 49ers and Bosa, who all want this done, we'll see if they're able to make it happen.
Don't doubt the Bosas. All right? They will get their money. That's what they're about. They're bred. And I don't fault them for it. Nick just had the greatest season of his life in a contract year. And he wants to cash out on it. I can't be mad at the guy for that. But I don't begrudge Niner fans for being frustrated at the entire process. Right? I mean, this is your star player. You've gotten everyone else locked up under the Shanahan Lynch era, albeit outside of DeForest Buckner, who you traded. But Everyone else pretty much has gotten the bag. But it does feel like this is the one time where Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch and co, Parag, they don't got the leverage. Not even close. Nick's got all of it. Just look at the depth at that defensive end position. Drake Jackson, Cleve Furl, and, right, defensive tackle, you got some. You bring in Javon Hargraves. You got Eric Armstead and Kinlaw. We'll wait and see. We already know what's going on with Javon Kinlaw.
Nah, bro, I'm really a freak, though. Like, the world don't see, point blank, period.
I know. So, Nick's like, yeah, good luck week 1 at Pittsburgh with Kenny Two Gloves, George Pickens, Najee Harris. Yeah, good luck without me. And this is a team that was getting gashed up the middle and in the run game in the preseason. Now, preseason, starters weren't playing every single game. I get it. Series here, series there. Can't take everything with it. Take it with a grain of salt. But it did highlight the lack of depth with this team. It's very thin. And in years past, when he didn't have to pay a lot of these guys, the depth was there. Now, you're an injury away or a Nick Bosa not being on the field away from potential disaster. And would it be a disaster if they lost week 1, didn't have Nick Bosa? From a PR and from a fan perspective, absolutely. It's the NFL, 17 games. Every single loss feels excruciating. Especially week 1. How'd it feel last year when he lost to the Bears? Not good. Even if it was in a monsoon, hurricane, whatever it was. So if you go down to Pittsburgh without Nick Bosa, then the chatter becomes, is it possible they actually do trade this guy? Is it possible that Nick actually forces his way out of here? And I was on with Dan Devone yesterday on the Morning Roast filling in for Bonte and Chaskin, and I can't wait to hear their thoughts on this. They're back today at around 6:05. We'll talk to Joe and get his thoughts on this whole Bosa situation around 5:45 for the crossover. But, we were talking yesterday, and I was like, if this goes a week or two, you're going to start hearing the D word. And that's going to be from Bosa's camp, and that's a word you do not want to hear, and we haven't heard thus far. And it's the word disrespect. Once a player uses that term, that phrase, generally means a trade request is going to start happening. And if your best player, and Nick Bosa, and he is the best player, maybe not the most talented, it's probably Christian McCaffrey, but he is the best player on the team and one of the best in the league. If he says he feels disrespected, I don't know if there's coming back from that. Especially if he's bleeding over into the season and the team suffering. But at that point, again, that's all the leverage Bosa needs. He doesn't even need more. He doesn't need the Niners to lose games because they ain't winning a Super Bowl without him. It's as simple as that. 888-957-9570. What is your panic level at? What is your worry at? What is your feel for this entire thing? 888-957-9570. Good morning, Nicole. Long time no see. Shout out Miami. Drew don't care. What up, bro? Luis Robertson, El Guero. Yes, I did see El Guero, the news about Julio Urias. Another domestic violence charge. Not good. Not good. This is his second. He's already been suspended in the past. He's not making the trip out with the Dodgers. Julio Urias. Yeah. It could be night-night for his MLB career. Honestly, I want to lose sleep over it. That's scumbag behavior. It's scumbag behavior. And in a league that is not allowing Trevor Bauer to come back, none of the teams are signing them, I would expect similar repercussions for Julio Urias. But talent, tolerance, it's a tale as old as time in this league, so we shall see. Trevor Bauer didn't do any jail time, didn't do anything like that. There were pictures, there were reports. We get all of it. But he ain't coming back to Major League Baseball anytime soon. And potentially Julio Urias of the Los Angeles Dodgers could also be gone. But he could also be facing some jail time. Felony domestic violence charges. 888-957-9570 is the number. Continue to talk about Nick Bosa, and we will be on Bosa Watch all day and all week right here on 95.7 The Game, leading you up to week 1 at Pittsburgh. This is a massive, massive game 1 for both of these teams. You know, Pittsburgh's been kind of the darlings the last few weeks. Everyone's saying, the media, I've been seeing it everywhere. Okay, can this team win the AFC North, even with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, with all that talent? Could Kenny Pickett really outplay some of these guys? I'm saying no. The AFC is just so loaded. I have a hard time wrapping my head around Kenny Pickett, beating out the likes of Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, these kind of guys for a wild card spot. Can they win the division? I believe it's the toughest in sports. If you want to say the AFC East, that's fine. But if you just go top to bottom, I mean, the talent alone in this division is just, at quarterback, I just mentioned him. You kidding me? So there is a lot at stake each and every week in the NFL. That's why there's just nothing like it. Every single week, you got content from one single game. The scarcity. It feels like that one loss lingers way longer than any of the wins do. Because they do. At least for me. Because I'm just that kind of fan. That kind of competitor where the losses eat at you more than the wins, you celebrate. But that's what the greats do. I'm not saying I'm one of the great fans of the world, but I'm also not saying that. Good morning to all of you on the Xfinity mobile text line. 510 on the Xfinity mobile text line chiming in. Hottest take. Ooh, we got hot takes here. I'll take a hot take at 5:12 a.m. on a Tuesday here on the pregame show with Joe Spadoni. Rams win the NFC West with their youth movement, and McVay is coach of the year. I have not heard that. That is funny. Sean McVay. He's a clean cut. He's a handsome guy. New father, right? Yeah, that is a hot take. That is the definition of one. And fuego. I think there'll be more in line to tank for Caleb Williams if Matt Stafford gets hurt. We shall see. We'll do a deep dive in the NFC West this week at some point. Eventually get our Super Bowl picks, division picks, MVP, all that sort of stuff. We'll do that. We got an awful lot to break down this week because we got week 1 on Thursday. We made it. You did it. I'm so proud of each and every one of you listening. You survived this horrible baseball season, at least locally. And it's not horrible yet. I know the Giants are still in contention. But my God. Been a lot of snooze fests around here. The Warriors, Jordan Poole, the trade, Chris Paul, all that can only take you so far. But football, as we all know, is king, even in the Bay Area. And we cannot wait for 2 days. The Detroit Lions are must-see now. We got Detroit, Kansas City, week 1 at KC, the defending champs. Looking to go back-to-back for the first time in over 20 years. No team has done it since the Pats. The Tom Brady early 2000 Pats. Tom Brady had multiple chances, by the way. Just couldn't get that repeat back. Patrick Mahomes also had some chances to do that. Had a chance to do it against Tom Brady in Tampa a few years back when Tom was an underdog at home in a Super Bowl. Vegas was like, oh, I don't care if Patrick Mahomes is missing his 2 starting tackles. I still think they're the favorites. And they weren't. Got destroyed. But KC looking to go back-to-back. Can they do it in a tough AFC? Man. Just looking at these 2 conferences, it is wild, the difference at quarterback alone. It's why I don't think the Niners are done if they get off to a slow start. Now, if they get off to a slow start without Nick Bosa, that's when the panic meter starts to rise. That's when you see the Bonte panic meter. Shout out NBC Sports Bay Area. You see the face getting redder and redder and redder. Because without Nick Bosa, yeah, I'm scared. I'm very scared. Not to say that Drake Jackson can't be a surprise this year. Cleve Furl, Reclamation Project. Hell, Arden Key, another former Raider. He turned out to be fine. Had some good snaps, if you will. A few sacks here and there. But Nick Bosa for this team is the straw that stirs the drink. He is the olive in the martini. He is the shrimp in a shrimp cocktail. You got what I'm saying here? He's the guy. If he's not there, the defensive line will suffer, the linebacking core will suffer, and the secondary will suffer. It's a reverberation sensation, if you will. Shout out Tim Roy. That's a buck. And do the 49ers really want to go down this path? Really want to do this? Also, what kind of message does it send to the locker room? Right? Like, hey, we believe in all you guys. You guys are all great. We'll pay all you. But the actual best player on the team, I don't know if we're willing to do, $135 million guaranteed. I'm not ready to do that. Okay. Then let's just wait out. I'll wait it out. I got no problem. I got no problem chilling in Florida at the Bosa compound with my pops, Mr. John, my agent who's out in New York. We'll just chill. Good luck. Now, if they start winning, does that change Bosa's tune at all? I don't think so. How's it look? If it's a shootout come week one, you get no pressure on Kenny Pickett, he's dicing you up and he throws for 375, 2 touchdowns and no picks, I'm starting to get concerned. Because Kenny Pickett, albeit, hot finish last year, I'm skeptical still. I'm still surprised how many people think the Pittsburgh Steelers could win that division or are picking them to win that division. I know they finished the season hot, but Joe Burrow, were you all that scared about that calf injury day to day? Are we forgetting about Mr. MVP Lamar Jackson, Baltimore? He just got paid. They brought in Odell Beckham. They got Rashad Bateman. They got Dobbins. They got some studs over there on the defense. Patrick Queen, amongst others. And then you look at, with the Browns, you'd have to think Deshaun's going to be better. He was suspended for most of last year, looked shaky a lot of the time, but another year in that offense with Stefanski, he's just such a talent that you'd think that would supersede a lot. They got Cooper, they got Myles Garrett, they got so much talent over there. So it's just hard for me to wrap my head around the thought, I should say, of Kenny Pickett beating out all those guys. It can be done. Not saying it can't. Brock Purdy's going to win this division. And is he the best quarterback right now? Which is actually kind of wild because he might be. Brock Purdy might be the best quarterback in this division. I'm taking him over Geno right now. And Matt Stafford, okay, body of work. He's won a Super Bowl. I don't know if he's healthy. Just that aspect, I'm taking Brock Purdy. Because I don't know what you're getting with Matty Stafford this year. Good morning to all of you on Twitch and YouTube, which is powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there. Camille Thomas, Arthur Matevia, Dublin Marge. Is Nathan your 510 hot taker? No, not a name. Drew don't care. Detroit will end the same way. Fire, trash. You think it's going to be I think that's dumpster fire? Okay. They ended the season hot last year. That was a team I don't think anyone wanted to face if they had made the playoffs. And they had a chance in the final week. If Seattle had lost that game, they had won, and they did win in Green Bay at the end of the year. And Green Bay was playing for something. Man, can you imagine Detroit making a run this year? Of all the storylines, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they would just take a playoff berth. And listen, the NFC, as opposed to the AFC, it's wide open. It's anyone's game. You got the Eagles, you got the Niners, you got the Cowboys, slightly below them, I would say, but still, I think they're a cut above everyone else. And then the Niners and Eagles again. They're 2 tiers above everyone. In my humble opinion. Do you have differing thoughts? How do you think the NFC is going to shake out? 888-957-9570. There's going to be some surprise teams. There always is every year. Is that surprise team I don't know. Is it going to be New Orleans? Derek Carr, new quarterback. They felt like they were a quarterback away. Michael Thomas, finally back, finally healthy. We'll see. Not holding my breath there. Is he going to play week one? How's the foot? How's the toe? I know that defense was, I almost said scam. Not going to, because Cam Jordan's a beast. Shout out Cal Berkeley. They got some studs over there. Lattimore, amongst others. That division, not very good. Are the Falcons going to do anything? Is Desmond Ridder going to be a thing? Who do they got backing him up? Heineke now? And then you got Bryce Young, the rookie, Heisman Trophy winner out of Alabama. Carolina, Frank Reich. And they got a defensive end problem. Burns. What's going on with him? Mr. Brian Burns. He wants his money too. The DNs and the defensive line want their money. Chris Jones, Brian Burns. 49ers, Nick Bosa. Like, these guys want to get paid. And I don't blame them. Hell, Burns last year, 12 and a half sacks. He was a baller. 63 tackles, 29 assisted tackles. He is that dude for that team. So it's going to be fascinating to see which one of these guys, if all of them, hold out heading into week one. Because that's the biggest storyline remaining in this offseason. Who is going to sign first? Who's going to blink first? Who's going to give in first? If you're just joining us, here's the latest from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network on where things stand between Nick Bosa and the San Francisco 49ers in contract negotiations.
There is no deal yet for Nick Bosa, and I would say similar to Chris Jones, maybe without quite the amount of urgency. Until there is a significant breakthrough, I do not expect Nick Bosa on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. And this it really isn't a question of, is it going to be the NFL's highest paid pass rusher? It sounds to me like they're already there, already past TJ Watt. That's not really what this is about. TJ Watt, of course, at $28 million on an average per year basis. This is about how close to Aaron Donald's $31 million and change does he get, or does he get over that? It is a Monday today, tomorrow's Tuesday, and then Wednesday starts the game week. I believe I'd have to consult the calendar on that one, but that's what I think it is. And if he is not there Wednesday, obviously would not bode well for him being able to participate in this week's game. If there is anyone whose resolve you should never doubt, it is someone with the last name of Bosa. We will see if the 49ers and Bosa, who all want this done, we'll see if they're able to make it happen.
Rap sheet there again via NFL Network. A significant breakthrough. That was the quote. That's a little alarming. Significant breakthrough. That makes me feel like they are way off. And if they are way off, I don't think this is getting resolved in just a matter of days. This is two sides dug in. This is a tug of war. They got their ankles deep in the sand. They're at the state beach. They're hanging out. They got the oil all over them. Nick Bosa, chiseled. And then on the other side, you got John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, and Parag with their farmer tans out trying to go. And it's Nick Bosa versus them. Who's going to win? Who's going to blink first in this tug of war battle? We shall see. It's got the image of the Top Gun, the volleyball scene. Iceman, amongst others. All-timer. All-time. Speaking of which, news and notes as it pertains to the 49ers and some injury concerns, and I'm seeing a lot of it on the YouTube chat here. What's going on with Bosa and George Kittle? That's the guy. Mr. Kittle. Still idled by a groin injury. He was working on the side in practice yesterday. His status could be in question week one. Now you're talking about potentially missing Bosa and Kittle. Tayshaun Gibson still sidelined. They're optimistic. And then you got Jake Moody progressing, and that Kyle Shanahan feels optimistic that his rookie kicker will be ready. But if not, he'll be ready to go week 2, and in week 1, they'll just go with the practice squad kicker, whoever that's going to be. So, not all sunshine and rainbows heading into week 1 right now. And it just ramps up that urgency more and more. And while I think they could afford to get off to a slow start, I truly believe that because the NFC, again, I'm just not sold on it. I know that doesn't make for awesome radio when the host is saying, yeah, they'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. But the NFC is just so wide open that If this was the AFC, it does feel like life and death, right? For the Pittsburgh Steelers in that division, if they had a loss to the Niners week 1, you're starting to feel like, oh, God. We really, this is a tough way to start the season. Now, Mike Tomlin, guy's never had a losing season. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to be fine. This is another exciting coaching matchup when I look at this between Mike Tomlin and Kyle Shanahan. And we could pick up on the other side because the way they go about their business, I feel like is so different, and yet they're both so damn successful. Obviously, Mike has won a Super Bowl. I already mentioned he's never had a losing season. He's had a multitude of different quarterbacks, the Mason Rudolphs, Ben Roethlisberger, amongst others, and now Kenny Pickett. So I want to dive into this coaching matchup a little bit on the other side here. 888-957-9570. It is Bosa Watch. Your concern levels, your panic meter, potentially missing week 1. What is going on there with Nick Bosa and the San Francisco 49ers? I want to hear your thoughts, 49er fans, on a day after Labor Day here on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Welcome back, pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. One segment down, two more to go. We got the crossover next segment where Joe Shasky, the Morning Roast, joins me as he does each and every Monday through Friday. Get a little taste of what's going on with the Morning Roast as we are on Nick Bosa watch. It's Bosa watch here at 95.7 The Game all day, all week. When's he going to sign? Is he going to sign? What's going on? A, quote, significant breakthrough needs to happen. That's per Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. A significant breakthrough needs to happen between now and the coming days, and doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, these guys are dug in, heels, entrenched in the sand in a tug of war, if you will. Nick Bosa, the Niners. Who's going to win? Who's going to come out on top? Right now, all the leverage, that flag and tug of war, it's going towards Nick Bosa's end. He's pulling the 49ers with him. He's got all the leverage. Yeah, good luck without me trying to win a Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl window, is it not? I mean, that's the reason why we moved off to Trey Lance. That's the reason we're sticking with Brock Purdy. That's the reason for all of this. It's the reason we paid all these guys. The Kittles, the Trent Williams, the Fred Warners. Oh, we traded and he got paid. Christian McCaffrey's of the world. That's why we invested all this. And now, 49ers, it's time to invest in your best player and your best weapon on defense. And that's Nick Bosa. So we will wait and see what's going on there as it pertains to Nick. 888-957-9570. That's the number to get involved. Call or text the Xfinity Mobile text line. Give your thoughts on your panic levels with Nick Bosa. Because if you weren't panicking a month ago or a few weeks ago, perhaps you're panicking now with less than a week now until week one. Only a few days till week one, technically. Man, KC, Detroit. Then we got a full slate. We got all the action. We got college back. We got prime time in Colorado, getting the job done, matching the season total wins of last season with one at TCU. Speaking of which, real quick, now we're talking about Deion Sanders. Prime time. You hear what he had to say after the game? You hear that he was chirping. I know it was a few days ago, but this is the holiday yesterday. A lot of you were off. A lot of you are spending time with your families, getting some relaxing done, sleeping, no doubt. I don't blame you. Here's Deion talking his talk after a massive win in week one at TCU.
What's up, boss? You believe that? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe that? Huh? Oh no. I read through that bull junk you wrote down. I read through that. I sifted through all that. Yeah. Oh no. Come on. Do you believe? You don't believe. You just answered it. You don't believe. Next question.
I think that was Ed Werder, ESPN, if I'm not mistaken. And he was covering the game for some reason or asking questions. Usually he's covering the Cowboys. He's been covering the Cowboys for a long time. But, yeah, Deion, what do you believe now? Ed Werder, Ed's like, believe in what? Hey, you don't believe. Well, Deion. And he knows this, but he's playing the game, and I appreciate it. He's trying to hype up his players. He's trying to hype up everything. It's us against the world. That's what the greats do. That's what the Deion Sanders do. That's what the Michael Jordans do. That's what the Kobe's, the Stephs, everything. It's them against us. They don't believe in us. And I don't blame Deion for going that angle. But it's not the reporter's job to believe in you or not. He was covering the team. And for that day, Ed Werder was covering the game. There's going to be so many sound bites from Deion Sanders pressers this year, post-game, pre-game, practice, whatever. Just.
Oh, no. I read through that bull junk you wrote.
Thank you. Bull junk. Oh, man. It's good to be Deion right now, at least after week one. Not good to be Brian Kelly or Dabo Swinney. Big fat L's for them week one. LSU at the hands of Florida State, then yesterday Clemson at the hands of Duke. I think it's Duke's first win against an AP top 10 team in football since the 80s. Yeah, it's not good for Dabo. Hard to win when you don't got guys like Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Just generational talents at quarterback. Man, it's not good. Not good. But it's early. College, You can have this one loss, and then they could run the table, and then they could be right in that college football playoff conversation. Happens every single year. And this is one of those few years in college football where there's not this dominant team. At least we don't think yet. It's wide open. That's what all the pundits, everyone's been saying. Oh, so-and-so, this is wide open. No, it is. It's not like Alabama's this vaunted team. It's not, the Georgias. They're going to look for a third straight, national championship. Can they do it? No, Stetson Bennett down in Los Angeles now at the Rams. So, going to be exciting college football season. And prime Deion Sanders is going to be at the center of all of it. I just have a feeling. That story ain't going away anytime soon. Every single win, there's going to be some losses. Of course there's going to be some losses. You see that defense? Not great. But if they beat the likes of Caleb Williams, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, and Lincoln Riley, or if he beats Matt Rule next week in Nebraska, whew, you're not going to be able to shut him up. And you know what? I'm here for it. I love the talk. I love the chatter. It's fun. That's what it should be. Would you rather have that or Bill Belichick? Cincinnati. No. Give me that. 9 times out of 10. Good morning to all of you on Twitch and YouTube. We are live and streaming. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union, as you all know. Vic, not going to lie, I haven't cared about college sports in 10 years. Well, Vic, out on the West Coast, we really don't care. Because outside of USC and Oregon, not really much to care about. Yeah, Stanford was good for a little bit. David Shaw, Jim Harbaugh, they're solid. But the fact of the matter is, the last 20 to 40, whatever amount of years, college football's pretty much been dominated and been only won by it at a championship level, USC. So when they're down, usually this entire region's down. Well, got Caleb Williams, they got some hype down there, and thus people are interested again in the Pac-12, which is, as we all know, going to be the final season of that. And it is funny. So USC's 2-0 technically because they have that week 0. So right now the Pac-12 is actually 13-0 because of that extra game that USC has played. That's the first time since like 1932. Just funny that this year in this conference, they might actually be pretty good. It's the last season they're going to be around. It's just so peak. It really is. Just, ugh. And now Cal, Stanford, and Southern Methodist, right? They're going to go over to the ACC. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Cal, Clemson, week 3 clash. Oh my God. Well, Cal might actually be able to beat Clemson. God, they got their asses kicked last night against Duke, the Blue Devils. Not Coach K. I don't even know who the hell there is head coach. Is it still that guy with the big hat that coached our guy Danny Jones over there? What's his name? Duke football head coach. No, not the guy anymore. It's Mike Elko now. It's the guy I'm thinking of. He did all the Manning camps all those years when Peyton Manning would go down there. We'll get someone on it. We'll get our crack staff on that. 888-957-9570 is the number. David Cutcliffe, thank you. He was there forever. 2008, 2021. So he just recently was out of there. Mike Elko the last few seasons. Real quick, one more from Deion Sanders. And this is cool. Because Prime owned the weekend. He did. And it might be the last weekend he owns now that NFL football is here. But I wouldn't put anything past Prime. Guys, just the name fits. I wasn't really around. I was, 5, 6, 7 when his career was winding down. So I didn't really get to see prime Deion Sanders. I keep using that term because, prime time's his nickname, but I digest, as Lone Neal would say. So I didn't really get to see him. But I'm kind of getting a taste for what he was like as a player, as a head coach now, and I'm loving it. And here he is gassing up his son, Shedeur Sanders, who had the single game passing record this past week, throwing for over 500 yards against TCU. Here he is gassing up his son.
For real? Shedeur Sanders from HBCU?
Absolutely.
The one that played at Jackson last year?
The one that played at Jackson State
The one that you asked me, why would I give him the starting job? But like that no, not you. I got receipts. I know who they are. Not you, baby. I just got to say it. I would never do that.
This guy's going to be gold all year long. We got one more segment coming up here. The crossover. Joe Shasky joins me. Nick Bosa, what's going on with him? We'll get back into that. Ask him about his thoughts on Deion Sanders and college football week 1. All that coming up next on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health. Get one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments.
Joe Shasky here. Doesn't like my broadcaster voice. Welcome into the pregame show. Joe Spadoni alongside Joe Shasky now for the crossover. He joins me each and every Monday through Friday at this time. He had a nice extended weekend, him and Bonte, so they're going to be fired up here in about 18 minutes together. It is Nick Bosa watch here at the station, Joey. And I got to say, you've been on this one for a few weeks now. You've been nervous. You've been scared. You're wearing the hat right now that says sucker free. You're not a sucker when it comes to the 49ers stuff. All right? You wear your heart on your sleeve. You know, you might get suckered here and there, but that just happens for sports fans. You know, you might get schnookered, as Steiny says. But you were getting schnookered with this Bosa stuff. You were worried, and I think it's justified now. We're less than a week, and he still hasn't signed. What's going on?
Well, it's not like lose your mind. He's not playing week one yet because there's obviously, look, he could probably sign Saturday and play Sunday, right? Like that's what most people would say. But it's not great. I mean, there's no denying that. I'm just happy that Joe, I know sports talk radio is a lot of things, but what I love about sports talk radio is breaking down games.
Oh, it's the best. Yes.
Talking about games.
You don't like the off-season drama? Chris Paul, you coaching?
Look, I like it to an extent, but I live for the games. Like the games are what we're here for, and we're finally here for week one, having a full entire 5-layer dip of college football over the weekend. I am so excited for the NFL week.
You see Prime? You see that? What was
What do
going
you
down?
think?
That was the story of the weekend. Not even close. Colorado going into TCU winning, matching their season win total of last season. Shedeur Sanders breaking a passing record. Deion gassing up his son like that, then going at everyone who didn't believe. Going at Ed Werder for some reason, who was probably just there randomly covering the game because he's usually covering the Cowboys. He's like, "Do you believe?" And Ed's like, "In what?" He's like, "So you don't believe?" He's like, "Well, I don't know what you want from me." But it's fine. I appreciate him talking his talk. You know what? Because a lot of people doubted him. And that's what the greats do. And I was talking about it earlier last segment. I wasn't alive really for his prime, Deion Sanders, his career as a player. And he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, cornerback, save whatever. He's like
showman / athlete of all time.
Right. He's up there with the Bo Jacksons of the world, his greatest athlete, because he played at a professional level in baseball as well. So, but I'm getting a taste for what he was like now as a coach. I feel like he's similar, just the way he's talking, his bravado. I'm all here for it. Like, I'm tuning in to Colorado, not because of the players, although Hunter and Sanders, these guys are ballers. We've got the Shohei Ohtani version in the NFL now over in Colorado with this guy Hunter. But I'm tuning in because of the coach.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
I know.
When's the last time you tuned in because of the coach?
Harbaugh in Michigan early on.
Right? There you go, Harbaugh.
I'm with you. It's few and far between.
Yes.
But there's one thing I would say to you about Deion when he was a player, because it's probably been lost in the sauce because it was multiple generations ago. Yeah. In the same way that Barry Bonds, you could predict home runs for Barry Bonds because people would dance around him and then eventually they'd have to come in and boom, he'd hit a bomb. The same thing would happen with Deion when he was a cornerback. People would avoid him like the plague, and they would throw to the other side. And then eventually they would try to target him, and you just knew he was going to make a play.
Yeah.
You could only avoid him for so long, and he was incredible. He was an incredible player. I actually think that had he just played baseball, I think he would have been like a 8-9-time All-Star in baseball. I don't think he would have been as good in baseball as he was in football, but I think he would have been like Kenny Lofton's career. I think he could have he could have had a Kenny Lofton-like career. And I hold Kenny Lofton in high regard.
Which is crazy. Didn't he get flown into the World Series? He had a game and then
he had a home run and scored a touchdown his rookie year, his first game ever against Atlanta in the same week.
Dude, that's just nuts.
And then, of course, obviously, the day as Deion, when they were going into the playoffs with the Atlanta Braves, and he played a World Series game the same week that he played an NFL game. He was incredible. And people have forgotten the name Brian Jordan, but he was another guy who was an NFL linebacker who converted into a St. Louis Cardinal outfielder. Yeah, look up Brian Jordan. He was a stud.
No, I wish he got
There were
more
a lot
of
of guys trying to be him.
You're just not going to see that anymore. It's just unfortunate, but you can root for the guys like the Ohtanis and hell, maybe this kid Hunter. Can he do it at both ends? God, he must have been gassed. That whole team was gassed, but I can't wait again for the primetime storyline in college. But It's football.
Oh my
it's
God.
NFL football this week.
Best.
We got Detroit, Kansas City, Joe Shasky in 2 days. I can't wait for a Detroit Lions game. And I was on yesterday. Dan Devone and I were filling in for you, Bonte and you yesterday, and we were talking about.
Wait a minute, you were filling in with Dan Devone?
Oh my God, hey, we're paisans, dude. It's Devone and Spadoni yesterday. Come on, get after it. Download the Odyssey app. You can find the entire show yesterday. It was really fun yesterday. We were talking pizza pies, Italian stuff. It was all that. It was fun. It was a fun Labor Day. Come on, yes, as you know. But we were talking about, I was like, dude, this is the last, I can't remember the last time I was excited about a Detroit Lions season to watch. And week 1, no less, in Kansas City. Now, are they going to win the game? We'll see. But the biggest storylines, it includes the Kansas City Chiefs, but also the Niners. And again, also the Carolina Panthers now, Brian Burns holding out. He might miss week 1. Chris Jones, Brian Burns, and Nick Bosa. Defensive linemen want to get paid, Joe Shasky. And they don't care if they're going to hold out week 1. They're going to prove, you know what? Good luck without me. Kansas City Chiefs, good luck stopping, Ben Johnson, the OC of Detroit, Jared Goff, St. Brown, amongst others, Jahmyr Gibbs. Hey, good luck stopping Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, 49ers defense. I don't even know who Carolina's playing, but you get what I'm saying. This is kind of crazy. 3 of the premier defensive linemen could hold out week 1.
Like baseball free agents, it feels like you could see these things coming for multiple years. Like Bryce Harper hitting free agency, right? It seems like every 2 or 3 years you get a marquee type of a player that hits free agency in their prime, right? In their prime. Now you may have to give them a 10 or 12-year deal.
We got Shohei coming up here.
Yeah, we can argue about how ridiculous that is of a business model, but I can't think. And I'm just going to throw Reggie White is the name that I think of in my head. When was the last premier defensive lineman to hit free agency? Not at the like Von Miller hit free agency a couple years ago when he got traded for a third and a fifth or whatever it ended up being to the Rams, and he ended up leaving. He was at his 4th contract, not his 3rd, his 4th contract.
I go Ndamukong Suh. When he went to the Dolphins, that was a big one.
Good call.
Yeah, that was
good call.
A big one. Yeah.
I hadn't recalled that. I tried to look it up, and I was looking all over, and I'm saying Albert Hainsworth.
Yeah, that was a one too. But probably Sue. Yeah, he's probably the biggest name at the time coming out of Detroit. Yeah.
The point that I'm getting at is that these guys have very few opportunities to maximize all of the leverage that we all assume that they have. Like Chris Jones has a tremendous amount of leverage. Nick Bosa has a tremendous amount of leverage, right? I don't know. Brian Burns, we think he's a really, really good player. I don't know if he has the same leverage as those other two, but whatever.
He's on the same level, but for that team, who outside of him is I know they have a really good front. They still got Star Latulele over there, amongst others. I'm not sure, but he had 12.5 sacks last year, so it was pretty damn good.
Great. So I don't know. I know everyone's angry with somebody. Either you're angry with Bosa, you're angry with the 49ers, and we could be frustrated with the business model. Maybe there's just not a bad guy in this one. Maybe this just is part of the business element as we look at college football, and there's NIL all over the place, and Caleb Williams, for example, is staying in a football game. They're blowing out the opponent because they've paid him a lot of NIL money and they want him to win the Heisman, right? There's money that is now attached to these guys that's very transparent in the college level. I'm looking at the NFL model, and it's look, if you got Nick Bosa, and again, I want him there week 1. I want this to be very clear. I want him there week 1. I'm sure Nick wants to be there week 1. I know that the Niners want him there week 1. Are we really going to lose our mind looking for a bad guy? Is that what I know Niner fans want to get on front of their couch 10 o'clock Sunday morning, and they want to flip on the television, and they want to see 97 on the field.
They will look for a bad guy if they lose. That's the only way. If they lose week 1, then you're going to start seeing fans go after, whether it's Bosa, whether it's Kyle Shanahan. They're going to be going after someone because that's what we do after a loss. I want to blame someone for that. It can't just be that the other team's better. It's we're missing our defensive player of the year, and Kenny Pickett is hypothetical. Goes for 375 and 2 touchdowns and doesn't get sacked. That is a nightmare scenario.
Well, no, it is. It is. But I'm looking at the running back market, and there's this Jonathan Taylor thing, but throw him to the side, right? I'm looking at Saquon Barkley. They basically were take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to the franchise tag. Josh Jacobs, same thing. Take it or leave it.
Josh got $2 million more. He's I don't need to do anything. But Saquon, Saquon held out because he realized the market he was in too.
But that's my point.
Yes.
They had limited leverage, right? You look at someone like Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill, like, okay, my team doesn't want to pay me, or I don't want to be on that team. There's 25 other teams that would take me. And Miami and obviously the Raiders couldn't wait to trade picks and pay out that guy. So I'm looking at the Nick Bosa situation and I'm saying to myself, like, clearly the Niners want to pay him.
Yes.
How many other teams out there are dying to trade multiple firsts and give this guy that kind of money? Because that was what was unique about the Khalil Mack thing. There's very few positions like D-end, like pass rusher, D-tackle, I guess, for Chris Jones. That's his specific position. Teams are willing and lining up to give you multiple picks plus cash that guy out at unbelievable amounts of money.
So he's what? So Khalil was 28 at the time. So he was even a little older. Right? 28, 27.
Which is kind of crazy.
So sorry. So he was 27. Yeah. So he was 2 years older than what Nick is now at 25. And yeah, they still got a bunch for that. It was just crazy, that whole scenario. Gruden taking over. Obviously, they were rebuilding. They got rid of Amari Cooper. All these other guys. They're blowing up shop, if you will. And then the famous Gruden line, it's hard to find good pass rushers these days. And, you had one there, a future Hall of Famer, Khalil Mack. Thanks, John.
It's hard to find him.
It was the worst. God, I hated that guy. So, I don't think the Niners will botch it in that way. But if he misses a game, I know John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan said they're not going to trade him. Are they just going to let him sit out the whole year? That's the thing with all this. If he does miss that first game, I think everything's on the table at that point. I think everything is on the table. I think that's when you start messing with the word disrespect. I said that D word you don't want to talk about. Disrespect. That's when, if you float that to the media, that's when Nick Bosa starts getting upset. You know about the Bosas. If they get upset, they have no problem. You know what? I want to trade. I want to get out of here. I don't think he has a problem saying that. If he feels like this gap and he's not getting rewarded as the best defensive player in football, he wants to get paid as the best non-quarterback. Well, not just defensive player, Joe. Non-QB, I believe.
This is not new, too. The business of families and the business of understanding that, the getting paid and playing at the right place is a...
Shout out Eli Manning, am I right, in the draft?
John Elway, Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk. There is a long list of guys.
John Elway should have been a Raider, too. Man.
But there's a long list of guys. Jeff George. I can go right through the history of the game and point to so many guys whose family and them have decided, oh, no. We're going to hold out until the setting is optimal. Either the money is right, the team is right, or the situation is something that we're comfortable with.
The Price is Right. R.I.P. Bob Barker. And The Price is Right with the Morning Roast. Bonta and Shasky next, right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the...